Hello everyone. I welcome you to the lecture series of Technical Communication KAS 301. Today we are going to cover first unit and the lecture is number 2. Here in this lecture we are going to cover technical communication and its features, also language as a tool of communication. So first of all, I would give the outline. We will be talking about what is technical communication, what are the different features of technical communication, what is the difference between technical communication and general communication, also language as a tool of communication. So students, in the previous video, we talked about communication, the meaning of communication, definition of communication. After that, we talked about the process where various elements are involved while communicating. And then we talked about the role of communication. So let us begin with the topic. So first of all, we will be talking about technical communication. Students, this is an umbrella term of professional communication. Business communication, technical communication, all this comes under the heading of professional communication. It is the communication which we do in our professional life. The definition of technical communication is, it is the process of making and sharing information and ideas at the workplace. I hope when I say it at the workplace, it is clear. And a set of application written in the form of documents. So I'll explain you with the help of certain examples. Computer-based training videos, research papers which you write or read, that comes under the heading of technical communication. Owner's manuals, various manuals of, let it be washing machine, of mixer grinder, of your phone, microwave, or different appliances which you use, electronic devices which you use. So all those owners manuals, that manuals or instructional manuals are written by technical communicator. Then the websites, different procedures of things happening, all this comes under the technical communication and various other examples. Even the brief exchange of information on your project with your co-worker comes under the heading of technical communication. Even the phone calls related to the project on which you are working with your associates also comes under the heading of technical communication. Therefore, it is the communication that conveys complex information in an easy to understand manner. Basically, whenever you are communicating anything, especially technical one, it is bit complex for a layman. So it is your task as engineers or being a technical communicator to make it easy and simplified for the layman so that a person is able to understand. So you're not going to use any technical terms or technical terminology or let's say dictionary, words, vocabulary. That is a problem for a common man. So here, often inexperienced users are reading or referring to your notes or documents which you have written. So it is very important and pertinent that you make your language very simplified. You avoid using jargons. So some of the topics which you are going to which are an example of technical communication is repairing a copy machine. So giving an instruction to anyone regarding repairing a copy machine comes under the heading of technical communication. Or even selecting a home computer. So you see many videos, tutorials while buying a new phone or a new computer or laptop for your home. So all these instructions are basically technical communication. Operating a digital camera, assembling a kit, all these are examples of technical communication. Now we are going to talk about the forms of technical communication. So I have classified in two forms: oral forms, that is spoken form, or written form. Either you are going to communicate in a spoken way by your speech, or in a written form. So certain examples or forms I have listed here, although there are many examples. So first of all, face-to-face communication. Face-to-face communication is a form of technical communication, is a spoken form where verbal as well as non-verbal communication is involved. Meetings which you attend various seminars and conferences, they both come under the heading of spoken form, and they are a part of technical communication. Presentations, group discussions, interviews, video conferencing, telephone talks, and various other forms. Coming to written forms, memos, letters, reports, emails, faxes, all these are written form of technical communication. The notices which you read, research paper that you read, bulletins you read, manuals that are prepared by a technical communicator, or proposals, and many others are the forms of technical communication. Coming to features of technical communication, there are certain features of technical communication, and they are: number one, reader oriented. Whatever content that you are going to prepare, either you are going to speak or you are going to write in various forms which we talked about just now. So it should be reader oriented. You are going to focus for your reader, right? Your audience. What is your audience for whom you are writing? So you always write for your audience. It must be intended for audience. Suppose you are making a product, let's suppose Miko. You are preparing, your company is making Miko. So your audience is basically the smaller section, the young children, instead of the elder generation. Same way, if you are involved in any pension scheme or LIC or maturing policies, then your target audience will be the matured people. So whatever you are writing, you will write or bring it in front of your audience as per the audience for which you are going to prepare, or you are going to focus on, or you are doing the work. Then create an audience profile background. So first of all, you gather the information about the audience, the profile of audience, and the various facets on which you will be working is background, their need, what is the need of my audience, and you will be preparing according, you will be writing according to that. Address the needs of specific people. So here you are going to see who is my audience, what is their background, and what do they need. So a technical writer must generate document to address the need of specific people. Second is use of correct format. So it is very essential to prepare, to present your document, your content in a correct manner, which is easy to scan, which enables reader to assimilate information. They are able to gather the information, understand the information, and work accordingly. So suppose if a report is written, then you will write in the format of report, not in any other form. If it is a manual, then number 1, 2, 3 or bulleted points of instructions will be given, and not in the letter form. So correct format should be adopted for technical writing. Third comes use of appropriate style. You use appropriate style. You will not use any flowerized language. You tend to avoid jargons. Jargons means difficult words, technical words that you are not going to use, or maybe idioms or cliches. You are not going to use those type of things in your technical document. It should be straightforward, point to point. It should be very objective in nature. It should use short paragraphs which should focus on one idea. So one paragraph should focus only on one idea, and if the idea is changing, you should change the paragraph. A proper naming and numbering of the text should be done. No haphazard things should be there that will lead to ambiguity or confusion in your audience mind. Now, next thing which you are going to focus is use of objective language. As I told you that point to point information should be there, No extra information should be there. It should be very straightforward. Also, it should be devoid of any emotional touch. No personal biasness should be there if you are referring to a telephone or to a mobile phone. So, what is your liking and disliking should not reflect in your content. It should be unbiased. It should be unusual. It should be unreasonable interpretation of the subject. So, no personal touch should be added to the content. Also, make your document unbiased. That's what I am talking about. Support your document with facts. So that the audience, the reader, is have a should build a trust in you, should build a faith in you. You will support your technical documents with the facts, stats, or research. That means these are certain things by which you can grab the confidence of your audience. Next is use of audiovisual. Audiovisual always play a very nice role in making the things understandable and attractive as well. So if you are producing a manual, having a drawing of the manual or particular part of that thing should be there. If a layman is assembling a kit, so the picture should be there matching the parts of that kit of a product. Let's suppose you are assembling a table, chair. So the parts photograph, if it is there, it will be easier for the person to assemble it, to gather the information. So always try to induce audiovisual effect in your particular document wherever it is required. Make the document interesting and appealing to the readers. Support the data with illustrations, maps, graphs wherever possible. So it is not a hard and fast rule to use audiovisuals every time, pictures, graphs, illustrations every time. But wherever it is possible, kindly try to involve them in your study. Next, we come to purpose of technical communication. See, there are three basic purposes of technical communication. First, you want to inform your audience. So you want to anticipate and answer your readers' questions. Do you get involved with the audience? So your first primary motive is to inform the readers. To instruct, if you are giving instructions, so it is to instruct, enable your readers to perform certain tasks. To persuade, you are trying to motivate some people to buy your stuff, to buy your inventions, because it is all about selling your idea. If you are producing a thing, if you are inventing a thing, if you are making a thing, manufacturing a thing, it is your prime motive that you should persuade your audience so that they get motivated to buy your product. I hope purpose of technical communication is clear to you. Next, we come to difference between technical communication and general communication, which has already been talked about in the previous semester. So I'll go very fast. I have classified it with some of the headings, and then there is a difference between technical and general communication. On terms of document type, technical communication includes everything: drafts, reports, memos, letter, notices, paper, thesis, anything. And general, poetry, prose, newspaper, magazines, all this covers general communication. In terms of style, it is familiar, it is simple, clear, straightforward. But here, general communication can be poetic, it can be rhetorical, it can be elegant, and carry a stamp of individuality, a person's individuality. Here no individuality is there because you are talking on a common thing. Then skills, this is acquired, you have to learn it, you have to practice it, but it can be an inborn talent in anybody. If you are writing a poem, you can learn it, as well as it could be your inborn talent. कहते हैं ना शायर, so शायरी is your inborn talent, so it comes into general communication. Now I will talk about the format. Here strict, you will follow the rules. If a notice has to be written in a particular format, you are going to adhere to that format. It's not that you feel like writing it in a poem style or poetic style. No, you cannot. or you feel like writing a notice in the form of a letter. No, you can't. So every technical document has its own format. Here, no set pattern is there, no predefined organization is there, and it can be in any form. Language is simple, straightforward, objective, rational, and scientific. Here, it can be elegant, creative, it can be poetic. Now, you can use jargons here, you can use high flown language, you can use high end vocabulary here, but you cannot afford to use these kinds of words in technical communication. The words, as I told you, are technical in nature and also includes their explanation, because you might be knowing those words, but your layman janta, the audience, will not be able to understand those technical words. Here, descriptive and literary composition is there. Content is planned, pre-planned. Here it is spontaneous and can come spontaneously. If you feel like writing 2 lines right now at this moment, you can write. But here it is pre-planned on the basis of information, facts that has been collected. Profession, it pertains to the profession, it relates to society in general. You could be writing to reform your society, so it is your choice. Function is to instruct, inform, and persuade, which we have already talked in purposes of technical communication. Here you want to amuse people, you want to inspire somebody, you want to educate somebody. Diction, it is simple and effective. It may use complex and long sentences. Now, the last topic of this lecture is language as a tool of communication. See, communication cannot be done without a language. Again, language could be English, Hindi, German, Russian, any language which we talk about. English, maybe it is US English, it is UK English. So there are so many languages prevailing here. Even in India, there are so many regional languages. So for to communicate with anybody, if you want to communicate with your mother, your father, your siblings, you need a language to talk. Whether you speak in Hindi, whether you speak in English, but you need a language. So language is something which is being created by people. We have created it for our use. Nomadic people were not able to communicate themselves, so they started using non-verbal signs, and they gradually developed a language so that they are able to make themselves understood by others. It does not exist in isolation or outside the minds of the people. It involves people. Humans attach meaning to words. Suppose if you have a pen in your hand, so this sort of thing, which is a long and a slim, which is used to write on the paper, is called pen. You can call it chair, you can call it sofa or anything, but you call it pen because you have attached meaning to it. Also, you modify it according to changing needs. The words keep changing, as you know. So we modify as per our needs. Thus, to define language, it is a combination of words to communicate ideas in a meaningful way. By changing word order, by simply changing word order, you change the meaning of sentence completely, and it can be meaningless. So, moving forward, according to the ideas put forward by eminent linguists such as Noam Chomsky and Ferdinand de Saussure, language is artificial, it is restricted, it is abstract, arbitrary, creative, repetitive, and recursive. We will discuss all of them one by one. First of all, language is artificial. As I told you, it does not exist in isolation. So, it is created by humans as per their needs. Language is open to modification. You can modify as per your needs. Jail is an Hindi word, but is included in English now. As per the need, people included it. Changes are incorporated with changing needs. For example, words like nice and hello. Their meaning is different in different countries. Earlier, the meaning of nice was different, which was something associated with a negative aspect. But now, nice is used in a positive sense. So, artificial, being a language as artificial, I will give you one example. If you talk about words like coronavirus, as the virus has come, as the disease has come, you have named it as corona. So a new name has been given. Was corona earlier existing, or did you know about this disease? No, that was prevailing, but we never knew it till the time we got acquainted with it. So it keeps on changing. The words keep on adding as we realize the need. Then the language is restricted. For every emotion there is no word. Sometimes you say मेरे पास शब्द नहीं है कहने के लिए. Sometimes you're not able to express your feelings in words. So every feeling of human cannot be reciprocated by a word, right? And what is the way out? This is non-verbal signs. When we uses language, when we uses non-verbal language, then this becomes as a remedy for that language restriction. So no symbol or word can transmit the exact reality. As I said, we need non-verbal hints. It is a sketch of apparent and obvious. Apparent or obvious is real and translucent or fake. Like a beautiful place. Now it could be anything for anyone. What is a beautiful place? How can you define it? In my eyes, my house is a beautiful place. In your eyes, it might be Switzerland is a beautiful place. In somebody's eyes, it might be a school scenario or a class scenario which is beautiful. So there is no proper definition of language. Language is abstract. How? As it represents generalized ideas. Pen, paper, rubber, or you can say eraser, sharpener, paintbrush, paint. What does it come under the heading of? It comes under the heading of stationery. So you give a generalized thing. If I want to say I am going to buy some stuff from a stationery shop, instead of saying from a shop from where we can get pencils, various sheets, colored sheets, chart papers, or different thing. No, you use one concept, that is a stationery shop, right? The idea the word represents is different in every time. To be abstract is to generalize things, right? A table can be different, can be of different shapes and sizes and still be called a table. The table which is there in my house can be square. The table which is there in your house could be circle in nature or round, right, in shape. It could be long, it could be the size, the shape, everything could differ. The legs could differ. I may have 4-leg table, you might have 3-leg table. So I have given you one example, and that is the general concept of dress, a formal wear. Dress, a formal wear or an informal. Now, talking about the situations in Indian office, if I say you have to wear formal dresses. So, being an Indian girl, a woman, or being an Indian man, you know what to wear. Talking about the woman, she knows that she has to wear either a suit or a sari, right? But if it is somewhere else, then it could be shirt or trouser. So the meaning changes. Next is language is arbitrary. How? Language is arbitrary because it is not based on evidence. No direct relationship between word and object, right? How? If I say a piece of furniture supported with 4 legs and wooden plank used for keeping thing is stable. So we have designated some meaning to an object, right? So there is no direct relationship between the word and the object. So word and object का कोई relation नहीं है. हमें पता है ये एक concept है. Basically we give a concept to a word. तो ये concept जो है इसको table कहते हैं. वो concept where there are 4 legs and a plank to sit on is called a chair. So we give a concept to a word. So that is why it becomes arbitrary. Next, language is creative. The language keeps on evolving. We always get new words. In fact, the old words are somehow vanished from the dictionaries. So we use different processes of word forming to make new words out of the limited alphabets and grammar. Alphabets 26, and we have made innumerous words. Example, we do blending. How? Smog. What is a smog? Smoke plus fog together makes smog. Then borrowing. We have borrowed certain words from different countries, right? Alcoholic is an Arabic word. Boss is a Dutch word. So we keep on borrowing the words from different places. Then constructing portmanteau words. What is portmanteau? Portmanteau is when we add the two words to make a new word. How? You know what are etiquettes, right? And net. That means etiquettes that are used while working on internet are called netiquettes. So this has evolved gradually as per the need. Edutainment, education plus entertainment, things which are entertaining in nature but actually educating you are edutainment. So various videos which we refer to are, we call it is edutainment, right? Clipping. Now calculator, you call it calci, right? Microphone, mic. So we have clipped in, matlab we have trimmed it, and we have made a new word out of it. Microphone was a word, but we made a word mic out of it. Calci we made out of calculator. So this is how we keep on creating new words. In fact, back formation, noun is reduced to verb. Opt is coming from the word option, that is again clipping, right? Next one, it is repetitive. Language has the capacity for redundancy or repetition. Yes, it has. We should not be so much verbose. We have to take care while framing, or while writing things. Repetition may improve or impede, it can obstruct effective communication. How? A couple of girls are riding their bicycles. So many signals are there. So this is one sentence. A couple of girls are riding their bicycles. So many signals to indicate the presence of more than one person. So couple, क्या idea मिला आपको? That means more than one. Girls, इसका मतलब more than one girl है. Are, verb. This verb is also referring to plural idea. Riding there again pronoun. It is also referring to a plural idea. And bicycles again plural. तो एक ही चीज को कितना रिपीट किया गया है, राइट? एक ही कंसेप्ट को. That plurality has been emphasized again to get sure that there are certain number of girls who are couple of girls that are riding their bicycles, right? So dispense with the words that are unnecessary. We should cut out those words which are not necessary. Language is recursive. Recursive means using the same grammar formula to build infinite number of sentences, right? A recursive sentence is long with lots of clauses. Example, we went to see Mission Mangal, which was based on India's Mars mission, which was launched in 2013, which made India the first Asian country to do so, which made us proud. I could simply say we went to see Mission Mangal, and while watching it, it made us feel proud. That's it. Which was based on this, which was launched on this. So this is number of grammar content has been repeated, and you cannot say that this is a wrong sentence. No, it's not. It's a right sentence. We can add n number of grammatical things to make it more understandable, right? But we should take care of it. One more example I would like to give you. This man who is wearing a crumpled suit which he borrowed from me to wear to his interview, which was on Wednesday, which was the day it was raining, which was a day when there was no people on the ground or on the road. So I can add innumerous things to make it, and it is right. We are using the same grammar formula, right? So in technical communication, it is used in writing legal text like license, agreements, right? ये टाइप की लैंग्वेज कहाँ यूज होती है? ये रिकर्सिव, मतलब हमें ऐसा क्यों जरूरत है लिखना है, ये बेसिकली होती है राइटिंग लीगल टेक्स्ट, लाइसेंस अग्रीमेंट्स होते हैं ये लॉ में ज्यादातर इस टाइप के। आप क्यों, बिकॉज इट मस्ट बी कमिंग इन योर माइंड। अगर इतना ही ग्रामर रेपिटेशन है और हमें वर्बोज नहीं होना है, तो वाई आर वी राइटिंग एंड डूइंग दीज काइंड ऑफ सेंटेंसेस? वी डू इट फॉर अ पर्पस, एंड वो पर्पस क्या है? लीगल टेक्स्ट में इसका पर्पस होता है, राइट? एक और एग्जाम्पल है, सी दिस बॉर्नविटा एड, recursion is used in get taller, stronger, sharper at lower, cooler, exciting prices. So here repeat नहीं कर रहे हम, recursive हो रहा है, get taller, stronger, sharper. So again I can add 4 or 5 more sentences, right? So here it is giving emphasis on the health benefit. That is why it is repeating again and again, which is not wrong, and which again if I cut it short in 1 or 2 words, it can be done. So it is quite recursive in nature, and we do need somewhere down the line, we need it at some places. So language has so many characteristics in it. So I hope language as a tool of communication is clear to you. I thank you for listening to me for this video. In the next video session, we will be covering flows of communication and barriers to communication. Thank you so much. Have a nice